Excellent. Go. I don't know how you grab your voice for this. Here we go. You sure? Excellent. Fantastic. All right, I'd like to welcome everyone and call to order the regular school committee meeting of August 12th, 2026. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, the flag is over Principal McKinnon's shoulder. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. We could just take a moment of reflection. Thank you. All right, item 2.1, consider, discuss, and vote to match the Dorson scholarship amount of $150 to bring the total award to $300. This is something we've done the last few years as the amounts of the scholarships have come up. I'm looking at Mariah, but I should be looking at Mr. McNamee. Mr. McNamee, do we have the funds available to do this? Do. Excellent. I will consider a motion.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. All in favor to match the Dorson scholarship amount $150 to $300?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing as there are none. Excellent. Motion carries 4-0. Item 2.2, consider, discuss, and vote to approve the scholarship, the school committee scholarships as recommended by the scholarship subcommittee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing as there are none, 4-0, that carries. And now we will welcome our special guests. I shared with Ron, Jane, and Susan, the Bogle family that is here. This is, I think, our favorite night of the year. A lot of times there's, the minutia of the day-to-day of education and how the school operates in the district. But this is really championing the outcomes that you guys have produced through your hard work and effort, not just in the last year, but certainly your entire educational career has led to this. You're all going on to university. And you're going to go do great things. It's awesome that we have a small community here that has such an unbelievable output of young people that go on to, secondary education and really make an impact, not just in this community, but around the nation and the world. So without any further ado, I would first like to thank the Bogle family who is present tonight, Ron, Jane, and Susan. All of these scholarships and the work that the community does in terms of providing scholarships to our graduating seniors, it's really a philanthropic effort. You guys have been champions of it for a very long time. I love seeing you here. And as I shared with all of you, this is, like I said, my favorite night of the year. To be clear, the subcommittee, when Michael and I met, this is a blind draw. I see some familiar faces in the crowd now. But when we're doing this, we're literally going by what you submitted. Your names have been blacked out, addresses, all that stuff. So it's literally, what are your accolades, your test scores, your outcomes, your extracurricular activities, how you're involved in the community. And that's kind of how we make the decision and make the recommendation to the committee. So it's awesome to see so many familiar faces, but at the same time, this has nothing to do with who we know. This is really just a testament to the great work that you've all done as students. Our first scholarship is the Ruth Coombs Bogle Memorial Scholarship. Ruth was a first grade teacher for 25 years and a major contributor to Christian education in the United Congregational Church. And the recipient plans to pursue a degree in education or healthcare. I'm going to have one of the Bogle family come up now and they'll present this. I'm going to read who the recipient is, but here you go, Ron. Perfect. There is no doubt that Rowan Manchester will share her compassion and knowledge with those in need of medical care. While maintaining excellent grades in honor classes throughout her high school, she volunteered at her church, participated in a wide variety of extracurricular activities, ranging from varsity cheerleading to National Honor Society, and helped out at Wilbur McMahon, where she was in the 8th grade valedictorian. By judging the science fair, Rowan plans to attend either Salve University or URI and pursue a career in healthcare. Specifically, Rowan wishes to specialize in labor and delivery and earn her master's degree to work as a nurse practitioner. Eventually, she hopes to earn her doctorate. So it is with great pleasure we present the Ruth Coombs Bogle Memorial Scholarship to Rowan Manchester. Congratulations, Rowan. David, you'd like to, or Susan? I'll read the. Our next scholarship is the Leslie Briggs Coombs Memorial Scholarship. Leslie taught at Harvard University and was the first president at Durfee Tech, now UMass Dartmouth. This recipient is an all-around good scholar and athlete. Rose Manning has excelled as a student and a three-season athlete, earning NEPSAC, New England Preparatory School Athletic Council honors for lacrosse. She also played basketball and field hockey for all 4 years at high school. Rose plans to attend Middlebury College and study economics. Her ultimate goal is to work in an environment where finance and global policy intersect. It is with great pleasure that we present the Leslie Briggs Coombs Memorial Scholarship to Miss Rose Manning. Congratulations, Rose, and enjoy Middlebury.
Thank you.
And defend that national championship that you guys won there. Our next scholarship is the Anthony Raposa Scholarship. This recipient demonstrates good character and to be recommended by the principal of their high school. Timothy Roberts has always been interested in aviation. This has led him to pursue his private pilot license at T.F. Green International Airport and seek out mentorship opportunities with JetBlue and FedEx. In addition to volunteering for his church, Timothy keeps his feet on the ground as a lifeguard. He plans to attend Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University and become a commercial pilot. I don't believe Timothy's present tonight. I think he might be via Zoom. But Timothy, congratulations, and certainly a go-getter with already pursuing his pilot's license before he's even 18 years old.
Yeah.
That's excellent. So, okay. Timothy, if you are watching, we will make sure we get this check to you. Our next scholarship is the Doris E. Simmons Memorial Educational Scholarship. Doris Simmons was a lifelong resident of Little Compton, an educator, and a member of the Little Compton School Committee. This recipient is deserving of the scholarship at the sole discretion of the school committee. Colby Nixon's career goal after attending University of Vermont is to become a mechanical engineer. Academically strong and active in lacrosse, basketball, and the ski and snowboard club, Colby also explored different paths of the world through service projects. His international experience took him to both Costa Rica and Vietnam, where he undoubtedly saw the global value in engineering. It is with great pleasure that we present the Doris E. Simmons Memorial Education Scholarship to Mr. Colby Nixon. Our final scholarship is the James Webster Coombs Memorial Scholarship. James was a Little Compton school superintendent. This recipient demonstrates leadership characteristics and school community support, as well as scholastic achievement. Caroline Sullivan is an excellent student whose extracurricular activities include being the executive student ambassador for 4 years, peer mentoring, leading retreats, and managing 4 theatrical productions over 2 years. This is while playing a sport each year and performing community service. We could often see her here at Wilbur McMahon School, volunteering in the after-school library program. Caroline's drive and lead to teach and nurture has led her to pursue a career in nursing with the goal of becoming a labor and delivery pediatric nurse. It is with great pleasure that we present the James Webster Coombs Memorial Scholarship to Ms. Caroline Sullivan. Congratulations. And to all of you, many of you, your parents are here. You guys are a reflection of them, whether you like it or not. That's just how it goes. You have your word and your name, and those will follow you for your entire lives. So congratulations. I remember many of you, I think it was maybe our first graduation. I remember Rowan being the valedictorian. So boy, time is flying by. That said, certainly enjoy the college experience. Stick to your studies. You will make lifelong friendships. And we're really excited to see what you can contribute to not only the community, but where you go and impacts you make around the world. So thank you all for being here tonight. Didn't see any political science majors, but if those of you really got the itch to stick around for the remainder of the meeting, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you are all dismissed, and thank you for joining us tonight, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you.
I think there's something like a school committee meeting. Huh? Thank you.
Thank you.
My sister with the person that's yes, so yes, yeah, you be careful.
Yeah.
I go on the bus. Rory. You gotta be close to the driver. Encourage the driver. We're driving this bus. It's awesome. Thanks. All right. That being said, we will move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items 3, 1, 2, 3, 7?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Is there any public input or topics for future agendas? All right. Then without further ado, I saw him hunkered down, ready for anything in the middle of the summer as I walked in the door. Principal McKinnon. I'll turn it over to you with the student spotlight and
Sounds
the
good.
beginning of school 26-27 preparations.
Very little to do with students, although we do talk a little bit at the end. Real quick, I just want to recognize our custodial staff, with our head custodian, Chris Osborne, Paul Borges, Jeff, and some of our summer workers, Laurel, Karen, Nolan, and Joe. Go back, Tom. That's fine. Just for in the process of getting the school ready, we start, basically the kids are here 2 weeks from tomorrow. I know in past years, it always comes down to one of the last days, but I think we're much further along than we have been in the past. We still have a lot of things that we need to move out. We'll find places for those over the next couple of weeks. But here's a picture of some of the work in some of the classrooms that to be honest with you, down below the elementary rooms, they're pretty much ready to go, as we speak. So we're in good shape that way. And the same is true up here with the other classrooms. Again, it's just moving some of those items that have been around for a long time and finding a proper place for them. That's what we'll be working on the next couple of weeks. Next slide. Miss Susan Chase was here at our last wellness meeting. We put together a survey regarding computers. And we put it out to students, to parents, and to teachers. And one of the things that we did come up with across the board is the fact that computers are very seldom used for homework. that we do have some, and I do believe, even though it was a survey, I do believe it was probably our older group, our seventh, eighth grade group. One of the things we are going to do is keep the computers here in school at the end of the day. They're not going to go home. Tom and Josh, over the past 2 months, have put together some, I call them cows, computers on wheels, but Chrome carts. And our students will keep them in the Chrome carts in the school. It's not to say that they can't do homework on the computer, but I think for the most part, you're looking at sixth, seventh, eighth grade that might have it once or twice a week. They'll take their computers home, but for the most part, the computers will stay in school. We'll talk to our teachers about, particularly on weekends, if there's nothing that needs to be done, that the computer should be staying in school. And I think that will be, as we know, there's a lot of information that's out there right now regarding limiting access to social media, to computers, and to cell phones. Our kids have done a great job with the cell phones, but we're working on this. Again, we'll find a way to make it work. So that's one of the things we're hoping to do this coming year. It's not to say they won't go home. I think what you'll find in grades kindergarten through grade 5, they won't be taking them home. 6, 7, 8 will be taking them home, when needed for homework.
Wow, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Way to be really responsive.
Yeah. That was, and it's an eye opener,
And
Susan.
we
that's
use
what-
data for that.
and exactly.
those decisions.
Yeah, exactly. As Rosemary talked about, the data that's coming from our teachers, very few of them are giving homework to our students on computers. And again, the ones who are, I know it's in the upper levels. And I think the parents are seeing the same thing.
I'm sure you talked about it, but there's a plan for like the bad weather, because this year it did sort of
Yes.
save us a few days, and it was really nice to be able to have that option. Yeah.
And again, if and when that happens, we'll make sure that the kids are ready. We have their little backpacks and
Yeah.
suitcases that they can carry, and they'll be ready to go.
Great.
So that's the other thing. And go ahead, Mike.
How many survey results did you get? How many people actually?
So from a teacher standpoint, we got 27 people that sent stuff back to us. For parents, it was 41 that sent things back to us. And it's probably true to say that, there might be some parents who have kids at different levels, and really their experience might be different at every level. The parent information that came back to us, we got to be careful, because I do think, based on, because it does ask about their grades, most of our students were in the upper grades that replied. I want to say close to 50% of the 41 people who replied were in the upper grades, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And that's where I think you're seeing the homework, a larger number. But I do think when it comes down to it, I think it's going to be beneficial to all parties that the computers stay in school. We know 7th, 8th grade, and at the next level, at the high school level, they're going to need computers. But if we can limit the use right now, I think it'll be a benefit to all.
Was there another takeaway from other than the computers stay in school versus any other concerns that came back?
Not really. No, nothing in particular that really stuck out, Mike, regarding that. The survey itself was a very simple one. It could be done in maybe 2 minutes. There were probably 6 or 7 questions. What grade are they in? Do you think that, one thing, now that you mention it, Mike, one thing that parents did write back is that computer use is a little overwhelming. So that is something that did come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually did take the survey, and I just found it was a little too much time on the computers from my standpoint. So a little less screen time.
Bingo.
That was one of my concerns. So I was curious to what your feedback was.
Yeah, the other thing, and again, it's hard to quantify, but one of the things each teacher was asked was, how much time do they spend on the computer in your classroom? And resoundingly, it was under 30 minutes. But you take 30 minutes times 4 classrooms, that's almost 2 hours of computer time during the school day. So But again, it doesn't get down to exact times, but again, it's not to say they can't be used. They will be used, but keeping them here in school is, that temptation is not going to be there for students to be on the computer at home.
And I'm not familiar with your college carts that you speak of, but I mean, I take it that's a charging station?
They are.
They're charging stations.
That's a nice thing too. The kids will come in and their computers will be charged when they need them. They'll be ready to go. So Josh and Tom, thank you for doing this pretty much for a majority of the summer, but it's a matter of changing some of the cords so that they work with our computers.
Everything compatible.
Yeah.
Might help with the break and fix too, not transporting the computers back and forth each night.
If I may, great stuff what we're talking about. And I just want to commend Sue. You were on this pretty early. You had asked me what you thought or what I thought. And I said, hey, if you're here, I'm hearing, you're hearing, let's see what we can do. And I remember when this was going to come to fruition and we were going to put out the survey and then to see the response. I think this is what we do, right? We want to be responsive to the stakeholders, in this case, the parents, of the concerns that are out there. And kudos to Principal McKinnon, the administration and teachers to be able to say, yeah, we can absolutely do this. And I think this is a real, we've done a lot on this committee. This is a real victory, I think, in terms of moving the needle without it being,
Thank you.
yeah, we're not really upsetting the apple cart, but this is an impactful choice that we will be able to lean into.
You
So
can still use the computer.
Yeah.
It's just going to be limited.
it's great.
You
Good.
don't need to take them home.
Really appreciate it.
Stay here.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a wave of this across the state too.
Yeah.
I got some information from one of the news media and they're asking all the superintendents in the state a number of questions. Obviously, they're going to do a back to school article and the majority of the questions about technology and computer use. So I'll share that in our update with you.
Great.
Last slide, Tom. This is Darlene's slide. We start on the 27th and the bus will be pulling in at probably beginning 8 o'clock.
I can't believe you said, both me and Michael gasped when you said 2 weeks from tomorrow.
So,
Boy, blink, it's over. It's great, crazy.
and that is everything that's going on in the school right now.
Thank you, Principal
Thank you.
McKinnon. And thank you, Susan, for driving that bus. Not that bus, but the computer bus. And thank you to all the parents and teachers that responded to the survey. It helps when we have the data to make these types of decisions. So really great. That being said, we will pivot right over to the superintendent report.
Sure. This is just a quick update. Last month or a few weeks ago, we had a workshop, Diligent Community, on the Diligent Community platform, which really houses our policy and our agendas. I was a little underwhelmed about the training, but I think if you get on and maneuver through it, it's pretty intuitive. And I offered, and if anyone needs some extra tutoring on this, please work with Mariah and set up an appointment, and we'll sit down with you and go through things. But again, it is pretty intuitive doing this. We had a discussion about that public section that you could log in as the public. And we talked a little bit about that in the training. And when we went back and looked at our policy, and I think, Mike, you brought it up, you don't have the address and the person's name and so forth. So I was talking to the school attorney, and Sean, I'll throw that piece to you.
Yeah, so it's in our policy, the school committee requires that information would be shared in order to then participate in the public comment portion of the agenda and meeting. And because that seems to be a little bit more difficult to do through this system and not as easy as simply filling out a sheet at the beginning of the meeting or when you're called upon when you're here, my recommendation is, unless the school committee wants to change its policy and not require that information, that you just keep public comment the way you have been and don't utilize the public comment portion through Diligent. Diligent provides a lot of services. That is an additional one. It's not something that is certainly legally required for you to provide. Is it a nice service? Sure, but there are multiple ways that the school committee already offers folks to interact, including being here physically, as well as to watch through the streaming service. In addition to that, there was one question that was raised about the note taking, which I said I would get back to everyone on. The question was, the platform allows for the school committee members, when they're on Diligent, perhaps during a meeting, it allows them to take notes. So you all could like jot down a little note to yourself somewhere in that system while following along on the agenda. And one question was, now that that's stored on a school department device, are those notes subject to the Access to Public Records Act? And while I'll never give a guarantee on anything, my read of the public access laws relative to personal notes is that it is exempt from public record. So always caution, when you're putting something in writing, particularly on technology in this day and age, assume that it will be out there at some point. But in my read of it, and I think the committee could raise a defense that, nope, this is an exempt document, not subject to public records. Now, in terms of the sharing of the notes, so there was this question that's kind of back and forth, and it was a bit ambiguous as to whether or not, if Sue here, as an example, were to take a note, would it be shared with the rest of the committee? We have been told through the customer service rep that that is not possible. I would also say exercise caution. If you've been using a notebook or another personal device to take notes, again, similar to the public comment piece, my advice would be, why change? It's a nice feature, but not one you're required to use. If you're dying to use it, you can go ahead and do so. You just want to be careful. Our understanding, and we've been told, it cannot be shared. If it were to be shared, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that could be considered an OMA violation. So we just want to be very careful about that.
Thank you for that follow-up.
So,
Yeah.
Travis.
Go ahead, Michael.
So Sean, this brings up another question. It's like right now, you mentioned that people can be in person or they can watch online. But from what I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that people could actually submit questions via email.
They can.
Yes, my understanding is that as a practice that.
So when they do that, there's nothing prompting people to give them their address, correct?
Right, and that is really no different than if someone, a person were to communicate to a school committee member and say, I have a question about something. We wouldn't necessarily, just to answer that question, a single school committee member wouldn't say, well, you need to tell me your street address. You just have a conversation with that person through email.
Correct.
Or you meet them in the coffee shop or something. It's more about compliance with your policies relative to how the meeting itself is conducted.
So, and I don't know this answer, but do we ever get questions sent through the email for the meeting?
I recall at least maybe one time there was.
Correct. I can recall 2 times. One was when we were discussing the scholarship, or excuse me, when we were discussing the tuition. And the other time we were discussing the homeschool. And both of those did include addresses in the posting. And if anybody, so similar to whether it's here or the town council or whatever, somebody can say, I want this read into the minutes. Right? I mean, and we could say we received something and put it in the consent.
They can ask for that, but it's all.
It's at the discretion.
It's at the discretion of the school committee and in accordance with the school committee policies.
Okay.
I don't want to get too far afield on that since this is a diligent community platform update.
Mhm.
But yeah, we want to make sure we're complying with our policies. It's not never 100% compliance. Everyone tries their best. And if something needs to change, the school committee just needs to consider that at a future meeting.
I know I had asked about adding the address to that form. The answer to that was no,
Can't,
right?
you can't. We asked Diligent that.
And I'd imagine it's probably a data thing. That they just don't want to get muddied in. I mean, I don't know, but the platform does a lot.
Yes.
So for them to say, you know what, we can't do that, I'm wondering if they're legal, like, we don't want to be collecting people's
Mhm.
data beyond what we already have.
But it was a template and it's just used for every
Just
district
Oh.
can use the.
even
system.
easier.
And it's not customizable just for awesome virtual.
Okay.
But circling back again to the training, if you need any tutoring or whatever, we're gladly do that. It's just a matter of getting in and playing with it and, clicking on to the little link where we upload the backups and all. And again, it's very intuitive program.
Thank you. Thank you, Rosemary. There he is. Look at him. Look at him. Look at this. Come on up, three hitter. We got these two are on base. This was a good one tonight. I mean, Principal McKinnon might even be on third already. You just got to drive them both home. Let's go. Finance report, Mr. John McNamee.
So we got the preliminary results for the FY 26, and we're looking at right now about $169,000 deficit. We still have some items coming in. Today we got a couple of FY 26 expenses for student services. So we'll have some things that'll trickle in, but we've got most of the expenditures in there at this point in time. Like all the payroll is in 26 pay periods, including the accrued payroll at the end of the year. So that's all in. All the revenue that we're collecting has been collected at this point in time. Just to go briefly with some of the changes before I go into how we're going to deal with the deficits is that on the revenue side, we did have, for example, 100,000 that came in from EBEC as a distribution. So that was added to revenue. Medicaid reimbursement was, we budgeted 21,000, that came in at almost 48.5. And that's a result, and you'll see that we'll have some increases in expenses for student services. And so we're offsetting that, but you're not offsetting that dollar for dollar. So we have increases in student services, but we are doing a good job in capturing the reimbursements that we do need. I mean, traditionally we were at, $9, $10, $11,000. Now we're up to 48.5, and that is unfortunately a result of providing more services to students as well too. So. And then, the town appropriation obviously didn't change, and the state aid to education was in line with what we had budgeted. On the expense side, we did have some changes in expenditures. Salaries were up significantly. Some of it had to do with the administration transition. But even like with the retirees, so we had 3 retirees that we're going to see the benefit of those in 27 by having a little bit of breakage, hiring lower step teachers to replace higher step, but we're accruing those payouts for the sick time that was on there, and that was roughly about $35,000 in there too. And we had some additional needs in terms of speech and language that we initially got a 0.8. We went to a 1.0 for full-time equivalent. We needed a vision specialist to come in. That was about 10,006. And then we had some additional stipends that weren't encompassed in the budget for the summer programs and also for field trips. As well as some interim coverage for obviously the tragic loss of the school committee clerk. Benefits were pretty consistent. You can see a little bit of an increase, which is a function of an increase in salaries on the benefits. Nothing significant there. On the student services, which are those 53,000 group of accounts, those we saw about an $87,000 increase in those expenditures over budget. So that's where some of those costs lie that we are now getting some Medicaid reimbursement for too. But obviously, like I said, not dollar for dollar. I think there was some little increase in legal fees because I think we're getting an APRA request every other week. But so we had some increases in the usage of legal in that area as well too. The purchased other services, we had a surplus of 63,000. Again, we had fewer students at Portsmouth High School, so we saw a little bit of a reduction there in our out of district tuition for students was down another $36,000. So we did see some savings in that area. So if we look at 26, we're looking at, if you look at page 3 on my projection, we're showing 169,112 expense. And we have accumulated surplus that we started the year with, which was 106,88. So we're looking at about 68,005 of an accumulated deficit. So what'll happen is probably within the next couple of meetings, I'll come back and request a transfer from the capital reserve fund to the general fund to make that a positive, only from the standpoint that what the auditor general looks at is that if you have a deficit in that general fund, you need to have a deficit reduction plan. In our case, we've done a good job in transferring money over into the capital to fund our capital. So we have ability to take that money back and basically and make the general fund whole and not significantly impacting any of the projects that we've got planned on the capital side. The other thing, and I know we meet every Wednesday, and the FY27 budget is the topic. And there's going to be some savings that are on the table right now with repositioning personnel, using some grant funding now to cover some of the summer programs. We're going to be using Title I funds to do that. Those applications have already been submitted to RIDE. So we're going to be looking at, if you recall last year, we were looking at using about 115,000 of the capital reserve. We're hoping that we won't have any need to dip into the capital for the FY27. So we're really kind of looking at all the items at this point in time on the budget side so that we can kind of keep that within the a balanced budget for the year. A little early to project that, but I think that we're making some good strides in terms of what we're planning on now in terms of personnel. So, and if you look at the capital reserve fund in
Page 10.
page 10, we're starting the year with $537,000 of almost $538,000 of accumulated surplus. We're looking at the HVAC project, initially was going to be at 450. We're thinking that probably will be a number. We actually have a meeting tomorrow to talk with the architects and the contractor on the scheduling of the project, and that we're anticipating will get done over the next couple of months. So we'll have a little better handle on some of those costs, but clearly we won't be exceeding that 450. And we have 132.5, if you look at the FY 27 projection coming in from housing aid that we spent in this past year, and I'll apply for that. So at the end of the day, we'd have a projected 220,434 in accumulated surplus. So if we take 100 out to fund 26, we're still going to be in there at least $120,000 in that accumulated surplus on the capital side.
Wow.
And that's what, when we're talking to like the rating agencies, one of the things that I did bring up was not only on the school side, but also the town side. The town has a capital reserve fund sitting in there too. So you have to take that into consideration when you're looking at your accumulated surplus number, which is the key. So it's probably not the year we hoped for, but I think we did a good job in trying to minimize the impact. And I think the fact that we're looking at it prospectively in 27, trying to minimize any of the impact that we initially thought would be negative on the budget. Now, again, I'm going to take a line from Attorney Clough. I make no guarantees.
No.
But I think that, things pop up during the year that just are unavoidable. But we're going to keep our eye out for those, and certainly we'll make the committee aware of any of those changes as they come along.
Well, not desirable. I mean, at least we have a capital expenditure fund. I think of all the departments, not just in this community, but around the state, that don't have a capital expenditure fund, and they wouldn't be able to do what.
Well, just fortunate because it was a combination of surplus, but also with the liquidation of the collaboratives that allowed us to put some of that money aside for capital as well too. And one of the other things on 26, and I'll take the hit on that, was the budget that I put in for electric was not nearly enough to what we needed. For example, I think I got the July amount for Rhode Island Energy today, and there was no payment due. And I believe there's about $5,000 or $6,000 as a credit sitting in that account, because now we're into the period where the solar is starting to generate a lot more electricity, but also our virtual net metering credits are also going to start to increase as well too. So this year we'll have a better feel, because now we've got a matching of the, Rhode Island Energy has caught up finally with their billing, so that we can kind of look at this throughout the year, kind of measure that. So I think we were looking at potentially about $50,000 in an electric cost. I think without the virtual net metering and the solar, we were initially we were up in the 85,000, 90,000 a year. And I think we're using, obviously, I think more electricity because we have more demands on that than we had in the past. So
Yeah, in 24, we used 115,000.
24.
That's what it's saying. I mean, if I'm,
Yeah.
I'm using the electricity line item. But yeah, it was
It's
significant.
even higher than that. Some of that, there was some lights that we were paying for in there too, that are out now too. So I think that, we'd be looking at, $50,000-$60,000 annual savings that, obviously it didn't cost us anything for it. So the payback, if we had to pay for it, which was 5 and change, would have been closer to a 10-year payback probably for the summer.
So, my question would be is that approximately, it's going on almost 5 years, maybe it's 4 years, that we switched all the lights out in the school. And I believe that we were gonna pay that back over 5 years when we updated all the fixtures so where do we stand with that now?
That's paid off.
So well, that's all paid off now.
Yeah.
What was do you remember what that was originally? Were we supposed to do it over a 5-year period or?
5-year period, yeah. And that was funded through Rhode Island Energy with no interest, so.
We're at 0%.
Yeah. You know, the theory was that the savings that you would have on the LED lights would offset the cost. Tough to measure, but that was the theory.
As far as the AC, when we came to you to talk about finance, I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't heard anything about the AC project. I thought that was gonna happen over the summer, so where do we really stand with that?
Yeah, it's gonna get scheduled. In fact, the meeting is tomorrow. 1 o'clock, we're meeting with the architects, the contractor, Jack and Rosemary will be there, Chris will be there, so. We're gonna pursue that, so we'll get a better timeline as to when it's gonna get done, but it's not gonna be, as lengthy as you would if you're replacing ductwork, that kind of thing, you know, so. In some of it, we've got some times that the school's available because of training, so that the students aren't here, so the contractors can come in and get it done. So we're gonna kind of hash that all up tomorrow and get a timeline to move forward with it.
Do we think our budgeted number is still good from when we originally got that number?
The 450?
Yeah.
Yeah, according to the architect, he had called them and he felt as though the contractor could hold the price. We'll find out definitely tomorrow as to whether he's going to be able to do that.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, so that was a minute ago.
Yeah, I mean,
We were in the other room.
yeah, I mean, Laurie kind of ran that project, so there was a little bit of a slip there. So, but we're back on track, and we'll get it done certainly, probably within the next 2 to 3 months, without a doubt.
I mean, they'll be putting in splits, so my understanding is that could be done quickly.
Just initially, when we looked at it, was number one, right, not disrupting the school schedule, and then number two is the heating portion of the mini splits and how that could potentially benefit us, knowing that it wasn't a full replacement of the heating system. So I was just wondering where that everything stood with. Okay.
Thank you, John. And if there's any information that comes out tomorrow.
Yeah,
Rosemary,
we'll put it in the update. We'll
You
put
will,
it in
you're always
Friday.
good. I don't even need
We
to.
learn anything more tomorrow.
Excellent. Moving on to committee reports. 8-1 policy subcommittee report. We have not met since our last meeting. I don't anticipate meeting unless something comes up, but we're certainly not going to amend that policy that you discussed earlier regarding the public comment. I will do item 8-2, Portsmouth School Committee Liaison Report. Mr. Mark Fleischer.
There's really nothing to report from those last 2 meetings. Sort of like what's going on here, not a lot of student information, just a lot of sort of hiring, resignations, and things like that. So I didn't really find anything to report today.
I have one question on that, Mark. Who's the new principal for the high school?
Mr. Monahan, Mike Monahan. Mike was in Tiverton. Help me out. He was in Rogers.
It was at Rogers. He was at Portsmouth 7, 8 years ago as the head of guidance. Went to Newport, as Rosemary talked about. Now is back as the principal at Portsmouth High School.
And he started July 1, I understand.
He also hired a deputy superintendent.
Yes, Dr. Heath, who was the principal
Yeah, that's it.
high school. is now the deputy deputy superintendent.
Thank you, Mark. Sure. Thank you, administration. Item 8.3, Wellness Committee Liaison Report, Mrs. Susan Chase.
I don't have anything to report. We have a meeting tentatively scheduled for late September, I believe, so I'll have more then.
Okay. Item 8.4, Town Recreation Committee Liaison Report. Mark.
Yeah, again, nothing relevant to Wilbur McMahon School happening over there over the last couple of months with the Recreation Committee.
Okay. Item 8.5, we just presented our scholarships, and we will look to get that information out to the high schools a little earlier this year. Not concerned with it. I know that Carolyn do an excellent job.
We'll do a press release probably for these current scholarships.
Awesome. Thank you. Great. Council action items. Consider, discuss, and vote to approve the Wilbur McMahon School Student Handbook. Does Principal McKenna, do you want to discuss?
Handle that?
Yeah,
Sure.
do you want to talk on anything that's been added? I know the cell phone piece has been added.
Yep.
Or the, excuse me, electronic device piece.
Correct. If you look at the handbook, basically, I highlighted anything that's in red is something new. As you'll see, we have some new additions to our building and some movement in our building. Page 12 does talk about the cell phone policy. We also have parent-teacher conferences on page 23 that are scheduled for December after they receive their report cards. I think this is the second year we've done that. Let me just check the dates on that. And let's see. Yeah, December 10th and December 15th from 4 to 7. And the last thing were student pictures are going to be taking place in October and again in December for makeups. We have not changed the cost of cafeteria food, lunches. That'll be talked about, I believe, here today. So we'll make that change in the student handbook when that takes place.
I have one question.
Go ahead, Sue. I was just about to say, does anyone have any questions?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Well, as I was reading through this was not a change and it's not even really a policy, but I noticed under backpacks, it was discouraging tags on backpacks. And it's just, I wondered because I know they are so big. I've seen like at summer camp, all the kids have their new backpacks and they have a million tag along things on them. So is it a problem? It said something, I don't have it in front of me here, but it said something about it being a problem in the lockers.
I would, well, possibly putting the backpacks in the locker could cause, I guess, a problem. Haven't heard much about it. Usually that's handled at the teacher level.
Yeah.
But certainly if there was an issue, it would be brought to our attention.
So you're not going to actively discourage that?
No, if there's an issue,
They have
again,
new ones. It could be a revolt.
Not wrong.
I'm sorry, not to tag me in what, please?
Well, they clip on cute little things,
Little, what do they call?
Boo-boos and little squishies and
Squishies.
little
there's
Hello
all
Kitties.
things that they
All right,
tag onto them, so.
I figured you meant like a manufacturer's tag. What's the big deal about
No,
a tag?
no.
These are add-ons.
If we,
Add-ons.
to say that Principal McKinnon and Sue's point, like, if you had an abundant amount, it might become a locker issue, but in
Yeah.
most cases, I don't think it.
not an
Well,
issue.
I think my granddaughter already has an abundant amount.
And grandma bought them.
All right, any other questions? That said, I will consider a motion to approve the 26-27 Wilbur McMahon Student Handbook.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing as there are none, that's a 4-0 vote. Next item, 9.2, consider, discuss, and vote to approve the 26-27 Little Compton School Department School Employee Handbook. And I believe I spoke with Rosemary, no changes to this.
No changes, and I do apologize that this went out last night, I believe, but it sat in my inbox for a while and it was, oops, okay, let's get this out.
Thank you for being forthcoming with that. Do we have any questions? I will consider a motion
So moved.
to approve the 26-27 Little Compton School Department Wilbur McMahon Student Employee Handbook.
Still moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Motion carries 4-0. Consider, discuss, and vote to approve the MOU between the town of Little Compton and the Little Compton School District to use Wilbur McMahon as an officially designated and equipped emergency shelter. I believe that this is continued.
We're memorializing the
Correct.
practice.
Exactly.
I talked to the chief about this and he said, you know, we don't have any, maybe we did in the past. I said, let's put it in. Yeah.
It always has been. It will continue to be an emergency shelter. Do I have a motion to approve the MOU between the town of Little Compton and the Little Compton School District for Wilbur McMahon to be officially designated and equipped emergency shelter?
So
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. 4-0.
Could I-
Oh, go ahead.
Did have one question about that. So it has been used. I was wondering about, it mentioned the emergency equipment that would be needed to be stored. So I wondered if we had if it's already there and there's a place for it, or if we needed additional
Well,
space.
that would be the generators.
Yeah.
To keep the air conditioning or the heat going. Also, as we fund out this winter, we've got to make sure that it gets plowed and so that people can access it too. So that would be given a priority in terms of plowing the schools. So,
Correct. Much like a snow route, this being an emergency shelter would hold
Yeah.
precedent over.
exactly. Yeah.
So those generators are already here and,
We do have the generators. I think we're gonna continue to look at those to see if we need to upgrade those, but I know the fire chief has looked at all those elements.
Questions?
try something. Yeah, just on a typographical,
excuse me.
page 4 of 3. Which is just, I know it should be 4 of 4, but so when we send it back,
Oh, for item 9.3.
no, yeah, 9.3, it just says page 4 of 3. It says acting school superintendent.
Just it's a
Just a
Typo.
typo. It's a typo thing.
Check that.
all right. Consider, discuss, and vote to approve food service contract with with Chartwells for fiscal year 27 and authorize business manager to sign on behalf of the school committee. Mr. McNamee, you presented this.
Yeah, so my request is that you allow me to sign it because they do it through DocuSign, so it's like a pain to get somebody else to get in it and stuff, so. But that contract is, so we're on the state contract with Chartwells. It's a 1-year contract. The state has negotiated that contract with Chartwells. They hired an outside firm to review all the contracts for each district, which includes budgets and et cetera. So those have all been vetted out and it's ready to be signed. But again, it's a 1-year contract. As you know, the state did go out this past year, and it was questionable whether they would be able to get something soon, so that if we needed to put a bid out on our own, we'd be in a position to do it. But they were able to get bids in, and Chartwells was not the only bidder, but they were the one that won the bid at this point in time. So.
And we're looking at the accurate pricing, $2.85 for lunch and $1.25 for breakfast.
That's different. That's not the contract. That's the meal price. We're gonna vote on that.
Okay.
But This is just.
So this is to let you sign.
To approve.
So you're just asking to
To be,
sign the contract for 1 year? Is that what you're asking?
It's a 1 year contract, yeah.
So just like, so in the past, we've done the Chartwells directly with us, or we've always gone to.
We always are on the statewide, once Chartwell's was on the state bid.
Okay.
Before, we used to go like East Bay Collaborative, so we would go in with, I think Middletown was in there, Portsmouth, Barrington, Tiverton, and Little Compton. We would then negotiate as a group.
Right.
But again, it's like the busing. We negotiate as a group, but we all have separate pricing because each district is going to be different in terms of the cost and the types of meals and et cetera. So in our case, it's just that, we don't have the critical mass to make a lot of money with the food service, but some districts have the ability to do that. I mean, when I was in Lincoln, we had Chartwells too, and, we had our own chef there, but, so you had some bennies that you could do because you're a bigger district.
Is the 1 year renewable at the same rate, or is you have to go through the whole contract process again with the
Go
state?
through this whole process every year. Yeah, the RIDE does the review of the contract again. And they'll do that for the 5-year period unless they decide that they're not going to renew the contract, which I don't think that would happen, but.
There's a lot of paperwork for 1 year. Sure.
It's a lot of paperwork if you go out on your own as well, too, if you don't use this
Yeah, I know,
contract, but it's like busing too, busing's the same way. I mean, busing is a 5-year contract with 3 1-year, 3-year option with 2 1-year renewals. So we could get out to the 5 years and get better pricing. But what they do with Chartwells, it's every year they're bidding on that. And the state then looks at the cost as well too, so.
But basically, at the end of the day, the state's taking care of all the bidding, but we're on.
Yeah, their purchasing has gone through, they've done all the vetting and they basically put the contract together.
I'm gonna probably mess this up, but how does that, with farm to table, how does that play into with our?
Well, any of those programs are over and above what we have. So for example, they have a fresh fruits and vegetable program, which they'll reimburse the district on a grant and provide fresh fruit and vegetables to the school. So for example, in Lincoln, this year, I think is a year we can actually apply for the Little Compton. We haven't been able to do that in the past. But that would allow us to provide that 3 or 4 days a week. And in my case, there was like 4 or 5 schools that we would provide it to get the bills in and submit those for reimbursement to RIDE. So on any of those grants, which are, again, reimbursable grants, we'll then submit those expenses to RIDE for reimbursement.
get that farm to table because it's a grant. Bringing that product, and then we're reimbursed for using that product.
Yeah, so we're not out of
It's an
pocket.
offset. Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's checked off here. Does that matter?
On the,
On the contract that, I think here at the top, it looks like there's a section where the FVP, fresh fruits and vegetables. Maybe we just need to choose it. I'm just not sure. I could be reading it wrong.
Or maybe it's separate because it's it's grant rather than the contract with Chartwells.
yeah, not every school would
like
end up getting that, so,
On page,
This is the boilerplate.
but that's a separate application,
Oh,
right?
just on page 5, it has a checkbox for that, and I just didn't see it.
And I know that the grant was submitted for the farm to table.
For our district.
For our district. I think by July 1st it was submitted, but we probably haven't heard yet.
Chartwell submits that, I think, for us.
Oh, they do.
So we should have that checked off. That,
No, that'll be separate. That'll be separate.
Okay, sorry.
No, no.
no, this is good catch.
So if there are no further questions, this is basically giving
Just a variety.
Mr. McNamee the power to sign off on this. So I will consider a motion to approve the food service contract with Chartwells for fiscal year 27 and authorize business manager John McNamee to sign on behalf of the committee. Do I have a motion?
So
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing as there are none, motion carries 4-0. Now, this is the rate piece. Consider, discuss, and vote to increase school lunch and breakfast rates. Mr. McNamee presented us with a piece of paper here.
Yeah, this was a recommendation by Chartwells we haven't increased it. I can't.
We said 10
Probably
years.
10 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And we have, and you can see, I also included the reimbursement rates that we're getting from the feds. Which, for example, for the lunch program, we're at free lunch is like $4.76 in terms of the reimbursement that we're getting from the feds. So this isn't going to apply to those that are getting free and reduced lunch. Obviously, they're paying those, one's not paying at all, one's paying reduced rate. But it would be for anybody that's not free and reduced at this point. We're also at a point where which I hope we could break even, but we're not in a position where we can break even because we just don't have the volume that would allow us to do that at this point in time. So I just thought that, and Chartwell's agreed that it might be time just to kind of bump up the rates a little bit at this point.
So we're not, the lunches that we provide, we're doing it at a loss. Is that, do I understand?
Well, at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I know you can't buy these lunches at these prices on the street, so I'm just like, to what a loss are we? Because 15 cents is not a lot.
This year they were projecting, in 27, they were projecting probably somewhere around I think it was 12,000
For our district.
by district.
And that's over how many lunches?
Well, we
By lunches and breakfasts, I guess, right?
yeah, I can get you those numbers. I don't have those in my fingertips, but when I submit the reimbursements, I can go in and I can find how many meals that we're serving. The problem, I think, is we also at one point in time were able to kind of do it with one person, but we really need two now because we can't really rely on any help from a TA in the program. So we probably have a little bit higher labor cost based on the volume that we're doing. So that's really one of the issues. They can control the food cost as best they can. And labor costs have been increasing, obviously. So, but when we're getting the reimbursements, we're seeing obviously a much higher number than what we're charging for the meals. And I think with most districts, the key was it wasn't ever looked at as a moneymaker, but when you had universal free lunch in 21 and 22, all these districts were making lots of money because it was like, some districts now that are 100% free. Like Providence, I think Cranston probably is Woonsocket, Newport. You know, it's not an issue, you know, they don't have to really kind of attract a sale. In our case, it's a little bit different because we only get, you know, we got one small group of middle school students as opposed to a middle school, which then you can sell à la carte and you can sell different products and stuff like that. And then the high school as well too, so.
Yeah, I would say that I would not be interested or in trying to make money on families on a lunch, but I'd like to be covering our costs somewhere or somewhat close.
Well, this would be a step towards that. Yeah, I don't think you want to go up dramatically, but I think this would be a good step to move forward on it.
I mean, the proposal is from 285 to 3. We're getting reimbursed at 476 for, I would imagine that would be for the free lunches and what have you. Correct.
That's from the feds, right?
Yeah. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, but to me, $3 is not enough. If we haven't gone up on our lunches in 10 years and we're taking, it's gonna cost us 12,000, but.
Yeah, but you notice a lot of the districts are not, there's not anybody that's up into that category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, I mean, it was $1.90 when I was in school, $1.90.
I mean, you could cut back, you could try to cut back on labor, but then we'd have to provide something. And that's the issue is that, again, you don't have that critical mass.
Yeah, this is definitely something to try to figure, I mean, because we are a small district,
We do have,
the reimbursement.
we do have more and more now the free lunches are really direct certs from the state, so we are seeing some increases in that number,
Yeah, I was surprised at the percentage.
which helps the program.
Percentage of the increase. Yeah.
Being reduced.
And is that free and reduced, is that based on like a parental income or whatever?
Well, the direct certs are done to the state, so those families that qualify for SNAP benefits will automatically qualify for
Understood.
Or Medicaid, or families that qualify for Medicaid.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's
So that was an ad they did a couple of years ago. I think.
I have a question. I know I've read of other communities and places where a very wonderful philanthropic donor would pay for school lunches so that, you know, I know our school does a great job of keeping it confidential and not, you know, not hard for those kids who do get free lunch. But is there anything that would prevent us from accepting a grant like that from someone who wanted to provide free lunch for everyone?
No,
And that would be around $12,000. Is that correct?
before,
For if everyone were to get
no,
free lunch,
it'd
it'd be higher.
Still though, it's good.
But
These are good conversations to have for a small district. We could have got to maybe find a threshold, but we could also have the offset. I mean, I'd be interested to know what that number is because like Sue, I mean, there's definitely philanthropic people in our community that when it comes to children and certainly education.
Then you have the meal debt portion. So you have those that are getting the meals but not paying for those meals. And oftentimes, so what you find is that people will come in and liquidate those obligations. There are some districts, I think it was Pawtucket, that was probably in the 200,000 or 300,000 range in terms of meal debt. And again, you've got pretty high free and reduced there as well too. But so
I just think, you know, in these economic times where people's jobs are not always secure, even in the higher income levels, you know, there can be a time when it's difficult for,
Yeah, and I think
Families to
what
pay.
happens, and I think that certainly the principal may be aware of those, and in those cases, we're able to kind of do something behind the scenes to mitigate those people who do need that assistance.
I guess that's what I look at is we have a reduced or free lunch mechanism in place to help the families that need the help. And that's, and I'm all for that. Help them, help whoever needs to, and do the process, whatever you need to do to qualify people. But at the same time,
What
little bit
happens,
of
Mike, is that
we put it up to $5.
but during the year, things happen.
Yeah.
And they may not necessarily qualify in the standards for free under the feds. Are pretty low. I mean, so, yeah,
I'd like to see us go to 325. Just, I'm looking at other, and this is the paperwork that you gave us. I take it this is proposed for all these other different communities.
I appreciate that, but I also think that that number sort of is kind of random too. Without having that information, we can throw out numbers all day, but we don't really know what 325 gets us versus an increase of 15 cents. I don't know what the process was. I don't know. This doesn't give me the information in order to understand how to bridge the gap.
it wasn't really necessarily bridging the gap, is starting the process.
Yeah.
Of increasing those costs.
Yeah. We could probably get pretty close to understanding the exact number. If we had a little bit more data, that would get us there. But I think you're right. That's starting the process is really where we're at. And I appreciate that, Michael. I really do. But I just don't know if 325 is the right number. So it's hard to sit here and say this is the number today.
Correct. I think it's
It's in line with other towns. That's why. So I didn't come back with a number of $4. So we were.
no, he's got,
Yeah.
I've seen Narragansett on there, it's, you know. I think it's a conversation that needs to continue. I think I'm going to go by what John McNamee has shared with us tonight.
What is the do we have a timeline?
Yes, it's school starts in 2 weeks.
So this is if we're not here, then we're not getting. So
Well, we've had them sign off on continuing the contract, but in terms of this increase, I'll consider a motion to increase the school lunch and breakfast rates to the proposal of $3 for lunch and $1.50 for breakfast.
so
Do I have a second?
second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Since there are none. That being said, this was a very robust discussion. Be great if we could have that data so we could maybe take the steps that Michael brought up, Mark and Sue. In terms of,
We had number of meals served.
yeah, just trying to,
Yeah,
because
Something together.
We'll get you that.
Because like you said,
We'll track it this
I
year.
get it, like Woonsocket, Woonsocket, these are huge communities. I mean, we've got a 225 to 250 kids in here. How many of them are actively buying? What does it look like? I think it could be something much like Sue with her wellness survey, like we could maybe figure out, take some heat off of the finance.
It's a separate program, it's outside of the general fund, so that is standalone.
The lunch.
The only issue you need to deal with is the meal debt, because what the feds are saying that if you do have outstanding monies, you need to collect it, otherwise you have to fund that amount. In the past, what's happened, especially after the pandemic, was that as long as you had monies in the fund balance, you could write off that meal debt to that fund balance, because they knew that these districts were making money during the pandemic. So now that's since changed. And they also have changed the way they kind of calculate well, I should say the free and reduced more for state aid than actually for food service. So you still have,
Gotta be like up to speed on
Right.
so many things and nuances and year to year and this, that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild. It blows me
you
away.
got like 200 and some kids and,
So I understand that we haven't raised the rates in 10 years, but is there any stipulations as far as like, once the rate is set now that we have to hold that for the whole year?
well, for the year,
For the year.
probably, yeah.
I think it would take us probably a year to collect data, try to kind of figure out this wiggle room, possibly figure out the offset. I know that, like you said, it's not a general fund thing, but no, maybe there is somebody
Bring this
that's,
up in June.
yeah, maybe there's somebody that is philanthropic that'll say, what's the food debt? Like, well, that shouldn't be a thing. Here's 12 grand. I'm just putting it out there. So the more information we have, the better we can go into the community and try to solicit those type of
We'll
solutions.
be doing the contract again.
So they do an annual budget anyway.
Yeah. So hopefully we would have it by June and maybe the June or July meeting do this earlier and have that discussion with the data around it.
Great. All right, thank you all. I will consider a motion. Enter into executive session under RIGL, section 42-46-5A1 and 2 via roll call. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
We'll vote via roll call, Mariah. It's about to be. Once we do the vote. Okay.
Mark Whitfield,
Aye.
Susan Chase,
Aye.
Michael Rocha, Travis Audie,
Aye.
and Amy Glacier is absent.
Just to close that, personnel who've been noticed that we'll be talking about them in executive session, haven't had an opportunity to.
Got that sheet somewhere.
Are we going executive now?
Hold on one second.
Okay,
Give me 1 moment.
just don't want it running, it should be.
Yep, thank you. We have that prompt in here or? Yeah, no worries. So I need to,
Simply anyone who's been,
anyone that will be discussed in executive session has been notified previously and given the opportunity to be in executive session during the discussion.
received no such request.
And we have received no such requests. Not bad. There you go. Oh, we had to say it like a dozen times. Probably know it by now.
You can go into executive session. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah, just This is a great temperature.
I mean, it's,
I run hot,
I
so.
was gonna say, definitely it's helpful. Those that run self-included. Great. Excellent. Reconvening an open session. There were no votes taken in executive session, and I will consider a motion to seal the minutes of executive session.
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Consider and discuss and approve the superintendent contract for school year 26-27. Do I have a motion to approve the superintendent contract?
So,
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 4-0. Any school committee member request for information from administration and or legal counsel? Seeing as there are none, I will consider a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
For a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations to our scholars and congratulations to our superintendent.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be in touch with you all.
Please.
Yeah, I would like to, maybe you give me your top 2 or 3 priorities
There we go.
and then I'll collect them. Maybe we can have a workshop in September before our September meeting. And we'll discuss the goals.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll send you all an email then on that. But thank you for the opportunity. This is, a wonderful community. I'm thrilled to continue the work.
We are thrilled to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.